Call our meeting to order. Please rise for the invocation, followed by the pledge of allegiance to the flag of our country. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for the opportunity that we have together here this evening. And Lord, as we just went through 9/11, we ask that you continue to bless and look after all of those families that are still suffering, God. Please bless this commission, Lord, and give us the knowledge and wisdom you want us to have to make the decisions that are in the best interest of our community. For all these things we ask you in most precious name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First, we have our budget hearing. So the first reading, public hearing to adopt the proposed budgets and the millage rate for fiscal year 24-25. Ordinance 24-17.
Yes, ordinance 24-17, an ordinance levying tax upon all taxable property within the city of Winter Garden, Florida, for the tax year beginning on October 1, 2024, and ending on September 30, 2025. The City Commission of the City of Winter Garden hereby adopts, establishes, and levies a millage rate for ad valorem taxation of real and tangible personal property within the City of Winter Garden for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, and ending on September 30, 2025, at the rate of 4.5000 mils. That's $4.50 for every $1,000 of assessed valuation. Upon the assessed valuation of property within the corporate limits of the City of Winter Garden, Florida, this millage rate is greater than the rollback rate of 4.1564 mils by 8.27%.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor Commissioners. This ordinance keeps the millage rate flat for the next fiscal year at 4.5 mils. As Kurt mentioned, it is greater than the rollback rate of 4.1564, which is 8.27%, and staff recommends approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from the commission? Hearing none right now, this is a public hearing. We will open the public hearing if anyone wishes to speak. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing, and we need a motion.
For all of them, or just one?
Just 24-17, we're gonna do one at a time.
Okay, make a motion to approve ordinance 24-17.
We have a motion to approve, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. Ordinance 24-18.
Yes, sir. Ordinance 24-18, an ordinance appropriating and allocating all revenue and funds of the City of Winter Garden, Florida, for the tax year beginning on October 1, 2024, and ending on September 30, 2025, whereas it is anticipated that they will be available for use and disbursement from the general funds of the city revenue in the following amounts: collection of ad valorem in the amount of $26,321,525, revenue other than ad valorem $39,126,156, for total revenues available for expenditures of $65,447,681.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
This ordinance allocates the anticipated general fund revenues for next fiscal year, and it ties to the budget that was proposed and presented and discussed at the last commission meeting. We would be happy to answer the questions that you guys may have.
Okay, questions from the commission? Hearing none right now. This is a public hearing, so we will open a public hearing if anyone wishes to speak. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. We need a motion.
Motion to move forward with ordinance 24-18.
Okay, the second reading public hearing on September 26th. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion, we have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Ordinance 24-19.
Yes, sir. Ordinance 24-19, an ordinance appropriating and allocating all revenue and funds of the Community Redevelopment Agency, CRA, of the City of Winter Garden, Florida, for the tax year beginning on October 1, 2024, and ending on September 30, 2025. Whereas it is anticipated that there will be available for use and disbursement from the CRA funds of the city revenue in the following amounts: collection of ad valorem in the amount of $1,622,445, and revenue other than ad valorem, $1,598,906, for total revenues available for expenditures of $3,221,351.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
This ordinance is for the CRA budget. The CRA advisory board has voted unanimously on the proposed budget, and staff recommends approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions we have.
Once again, any questions from the commission? Okay, this is a public hearing, so we will open the public hearing if anyone wishes to speak. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing, and we need a motion.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-19, second reading, September 26, 2024.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, motion carries unanimously. Ordinance 24-20.
Yes, sir. Ordinance 24-20, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Winter Garden authorizing the appropriations of city funds for fiscal year 2024 through 2025 in accordance with Article 3, Section 30.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am?
This is the final budget ordinance.
Mayor, I think, let
Yes.
me continue.
Okay.
With Article 3, Section 30, subsection 5 of the City Charter of the City of Winter Garden, Florida, and Florida Statute 166.241 for the purpose of fulfilling the financial obligations of the city.
Okay, very good. Yes, ma'am?
There you go, the financial obligations of the city. So this represents the rest of the funds of the city budget, and we'd be happy to answer any questions we have.
Okay. Questions from the commission? None? Once again, this is a public hearing. We will open the public hearing if anyone wishes to comment. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing, and we need a motion.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-20 with a second reading and public hearing for September 26, 2024.
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we'll adjourn our budget hearing and go to our regular meeting. The minutes have been distributed for our August 22nd, 2024 meeting. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Then we need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, regular meeting minutes of August 22nd, 2024.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried unanimously. Okay, first reading and public hearing, proposed ordinance 24-29, 24-30, and 24-31.
Yes, sir. Ordinance 24-29, an ordinance of the City of Winter Garden, Florida, providing for the annexation of certain additional lands generally described as approximately 0.35 plus minus acres located at 1245 Northwest Crown Point Road, west of Victoria Way, south of East Fuller's Cross Road, east of Northwest Crown Point Road, and north of Macy Dulane into the City of Winter Garden, Florida, redefining the city boundaries to give the city jurisdiction over said property, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And ordinance 24-30, an ordinance of the City of Winter Garden, Florida, amending the future land use map of the Winter Garden Comprehensive Plan by changing the land use designation of real property generally described as approximately 0.35 plus minus acres located at 1245 Northwest Crown Point Road, west of Victoria Way, south of East Fuller's Cross Road, east of Northwest Crown Point Road, and north of Macy Dulane, from Orange County low-density residential to city low-density residential, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And ordinance 24-31, an ordinance of the City of Winter Garden, Florida, rezoning real property generally described as approximately 0.35 plus minus acres located at 1245 Northwest Crown Point Road, west of Victoria Way, south of East Fuller's Cross Road, east of Northwest Crown Point Road, and north of Macy Dulane, from Orange County A-1 Citrus Rural District to City R-1 Single Family Residential District, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Madam Commissioners. This is a request for annexation, future land use, and zoning for a 0.35 acre property located at 1245 Northwest Crown Point Road. If approved, the property would be annexed into the city, assigned low-density residential future land use, and rezoned to R1 single family district. After approval, the applicant intends to build a single-family house on the property. So with that, staff recommends approval of ordinances 24-29, 30, and 31. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the commission? We're just happy that you're getting it annexed. This is a public hearing, so we will open the public hearing if anyone wishes to speak. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing, and we need a motion.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-29, 24-30, and 24-31 for the second reading and public hearing of September 26th.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, do we have a second? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Ordinance 24-32, 24-33, and 24-34.
Yes, sir. Ordinance 24-32, an ordinance of the City of Winter Garden, Florida, providing for the annexation of certain additional lands generally described as approximately 0.69 plus 9 acres located at 10 Broad Street, north of West Morgan Street, east of Island Road, west of Cross Street, and south of Broad Street into the City of Winter Garden, Florida, redefining the city boundaries to give the city jurisdiction over said property, providing for severability, providing for an effective date, and ordinance 24-33, an ordinance of the City of Winter Garden, Florida, amending the future land use map of the Winter Garden Comprehensive Plan by changing the land use designation of real property generally described as approximately 0.69 plus minus acres located at 10 Broad Street, north of West Morgan Street, east of Island Road, west of Cross Street, and south of Broad Street from Orange County low medium density residential to city residential, neighborhood commercial, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And ordinance 24-34, an ordinance of the City of Winter Garden, Florida, rezoning approximately 0.69 plus minus acres located at 10 Broad Street, north of West Morgan Street, east of Island Road, west of Cross Street, and south of Broad Street from Orange County R-2 residential district to city R-NC residential neighborhood commercial district, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. This is a request for annexation, future land use and zoning for a 0.69 acre property located at 10 Broad Street. If approved, the property would be annexed into the city, assigned residential neighborhood commercial future land use, and rezoned to RNC, which is residential neighborhood commercial district. The RNC district allows residential uses by right and certain low-impact commercial uses via special exception permit. After rezoning, the applicant intends to apply for a special exception permit to construct a building for her family medical practice on the property. And so with that, staff recommends approval of ordinances 24-32, 24-33, and 24-34. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the commission? So they're currently living in the house there now?
I don't believe so. You live in Windermere, correct?
I live in Winter Garden,
Oh, Winter, I'm sorry.
but the house is currently on.
Okay, that's what I said. Because the family, so, okay. Questions from the commission? Once again, this is a public hearing. We will open a public hearing if anyone wishes to speak. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing, and we need a motion.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-32, ordinance 24-33, and 24-34 with the second reading on September 26th.
Do we have a second? We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? This motion carried unanimously. Ordinance 24-35 and ordinance 24-36.
Yes, sir. Ordinance 24-35, an ordinance of the City of Winter Garden, Florida, amending future land use map of the Winter Garden Comprehensive Plan by changing the land use designation of real property generally described as 0.15 plus minus acres of land located at 34 West Story Road, south of West Story Road, east of South Lakeview Avenue, north of West Lafayette Street, and west of South Boyd Street, from city low-density residential to city residential neighborhood commercial, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And ordinance 24-36, an ordinance of the City of Winter Garden, Florida, rezoning approximately 0.15 plus minus acres located at 34 West Story Road, south of West Story Road, east of South Lakeview Avenue, north of West Lafayette Street, and west of South Boyd Street, from city R-2 residential district to city R-NC residential neighborhood commercial district, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
This is a request for future land use amendment and rezoning approval for a parcel located at 34 West Story Road. The property is currently zoned R2 and has a low-density residential future land use designation, and the applicants are proposing to change the future land use to NC, Residential Neighborhood Commercial, and change the zoning to RNC, Residential Neighborhood Commercial District. After rezoning, the applicants intend to apply for a special exception permit to convert the existing building into a professional office for their development company. Staff has reviewed the application and recommends approval of ordinances 24-35 and 24-36. The applicant answers questions.
Questions from the commission?
Was there community meeting feedback or?
There was a community meeting that was held, and only one person attended. We cast a wide net, but only one person came by. It was the property owner who lived directly south of the property. So she came and she was just curious about the project and asked some questions, and overall, and she asked some stormwater questions that were general to the area as well, not specifically to this development, but she was concerned about foot traffic of any commercial use there, and what the applicant said is that this is just a professional office that will have probably 1 or 2 people a day come to sign paperwork in conjunction with their development company. And she said that was good, and it would probably be a lower intensity use than even another residential property would be, so she was like,
There's other commercial on the area too.
there is, yeah, to the northwest, that property was rezoned to RNC and now houses a salon.
Just moving down Story Road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, okay. Any other questions? This is a public hearing, so we will open the public hearing if anyone wishes to speak. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing, and we need a motion.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 24-35 and 36. No, yes.
Second reading.
reading and public hearing, September 26th.
Okay.
Second.
Do we have a second? We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Business. Recommendation to approve and ratify the proposed Police Benevolent Association Police Officers Collective Bargaining Agreement. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Hope everyone is well tonight. Before you this evening is the proposed collective bargaining agreement between the Police Benevolent Association, known as the PBA, Officers Unit, in the City of Winter Garden for the period of October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2027. This contract was originally set to expire on September 30th, 2025, but we accelerated it in order to align the current officer's contract with the sergeant's contract, which we'll be discussing next. The purpose of this alignment was due to the necessity to effectively recruit and retain officers in an unstable local market for law enforcement and ensuring we could remain competitive moving forward. The attached memorandum to the Commission outlines the modified articles, which include minor revision to 2 articles, and the wages article number 14 provides a 5% across-the-board adjustment and a 15% market adjustment for each employee in order to remain viable and retain law enforcement personnel in this very competitive market. The Officers Union ratified the tentative agreement on September 3rd with 49 ballots cast and a final vote of 47 agreeing and 2 disagreeing. The staff recommends approving and ratifying the police officer collective bargaining agreement for the period of October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2027. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anything in here any different than what we've discussed in the past?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions from the commission? Okay. Then we need a motion.
Move to approve the collective bargaining agreement ratification.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Now, recommendation approve and ratify the proposed Police Benevolent Association Police Sergeants Collective Bargaining Agreement. Yes,
Thank you, sir. As stated before, this evening is the proposed collective bargaining agreement between the PBA Sergeants Unit and the City of Winter Garden. The Police Sergeant Union was established by vote in February of this year, and the city and the PBA negotiated in good faith to reach a tentative agreement. The basis for the Sergeant's tentative agreement content was the original Police Officers Collective Bargaining Agreement and contains much of the original language applicable to both the officers and sergeants. That agreement was modified to include or exclude certain provisions specific to sergeants. The attached memorandum to the commission outlines the modified articles, including the wages article number 14, which provides a 5% across the board adjustment and a 15% market adjustment for each employee in order to remain viable and retain law enforcement personnel in this very competitive market. The Sergeant's Unit ratified the tentative agreement on September 3rd, 2024, with 6 voting and 6 agreeing to ratify. Staff recommends approving and ratifying the police sergeant's collective bargaining agreement for the period of October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2027.
Questions from the commission? Hearing none, we need a motion.
Motion to approve recommendation to approve the and ratify appropriate police development.
We have a motion for approval, we have a second.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed unanimously. Thank you, sir.
If I could, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to have some final comments. I'd like to compliment the PBA's bargaining team led by the Chief Labor Negotiator, George Corwin, for a cooperative and meaningful dialogue, helping the city understand their concerns. Assisting him were 2 of the PBA directors, Sergeant Sam Nuvino and Sergeant Kevin Phelps, with input from all the sergeants, creating a professional, productive, and cordial environment. On the city side, I want to acknowledge the efforts by Cheryl Jones, HR Director, and Kimberly Helfand, HR and Risk Manager, for the monumental task of analyzing a large amount of data from other jurisdictions that was constantly changing into an understandable format, and Laura Solanka, Finance Director, for the financial analysis and guidance she provided throughout the process. We also want to thank our city manager, John Williams, for listening to hours of proposals, challenging us when needed, and helping us analyze the mountain of information and supporting our final proposals. And I had no idea he could do spreadsheets as well as he does.
Now I got a question for you. Did he challenge you more than Bull Hoffer? You can answer that one later.
Challenging you is a unique way of putting it.
There you go. Nice way to put it.
Well, we would like, as a commission and as a citizen, we'd like to thank all sides, the city and the police, because I think it's very important for our community to have a good police force, and we want them to be out for us, and so we need to show them our appreciation also. So we thank y'all for everything you've done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Recommendation to approve interlocal agreement with fire dispatch services.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm here in place of the Chief Guy. This interlocal agreement between Orange County and the City of Winter Garden continues fire and rescue dispatch services for a 5-year term. The city will pay based on service call volumes and salary adjustments. The agreement does allow for termination with proper notice. This agreement ensures continued interoperability with Orange County and other surrounding automatic aid agencies to provide efficient emergency dispatch services to our community. Staff recommends approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Questions from the commission?
I got a list of them now that he's here.
Yeah.
No, I'll let y'all use in that chat.
I appreciate it.
No, we appreciate this agreement. So we need a motion.
I'll move to approve the interlocal agreement for fire dispatch services with Orange County, Florida.
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, sir. Recommendation to reverse decision of the P&Z board. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. The property owner at 530 South Lakeview Avenue has requested an appeal of a decision made by the Planning and Zoning Board. On August 5th, 2024, the Planning and Zoning Board denied a variance request for a 4-foot-tall aluminum picket fence installed along the front and front side property lines in lieu of the maximum permitted 3-foot-high fence. The board denied the request on the grounds that they didn't think the 4-foot fence height was a reasonable use of the property, out of character with other properties in the same zoning category. One board member said that he didn't think 4-foot-tall fences were consistent with other properties in the area, and that he would potentially support the request if the property was larger. However, in staff's analysis, we found that there are several examples of 4-foot-tall front yard fences within close proximity of this property, including along the same street at 202 and 302 South Lakeview Avenue. The property at 202 South Lakeview Avenue received variance approval from the Planning and Zoning Board on November 1st, 2021 to install a 4-foot-tall front yard fence And this property is only 0.18 acres in size, which is smaller than the subject property's 0.27 acres, so it's a smaller property. In addition to these properties, the Planning and Zoning Board has, within the last 7 years, also approved variances for 4-foot tall front yard fences at 205 Surprise Drive, 340 Lakeview Road, 708 Vineland Road, and 711 Winter Street. Based on our analysis, staff believes that the request for a 4-foot tall fence at 530 South Lakeview Road is a reasonable use of the property. It is not out of character with other properties in the same zoning category, and we would recommend approval of the variance subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report. And I think I can answer any questions.
Questions from the commission?
People got up and spoke at that planning and zoning board meeting to the community.
They did, but so the items on the agenda were actually for a 6-foot tall wood fence that had some discrepancies per code, and then also this 4-foot tall front yard fence. The neighbors who came actually had comments against the 6-foot wood fence, which the board ultimately approved, but they had no issue with the 4-foot tall front yard fence, which is under consideration tonight.
Personally, there's a couple down Lakeview that have that, and looks better than the wood fence. Questions from the commission?
So the only comment was the person on P&Z didn't feel like, that it had been done before, but it has been quite a bit.
His comments were in the direction of he sometimes feels that 4-foot tall fences in the front yard doesn't have a welcoming character and would prefer not to see them in the districts. And questioned, he said, when brought up those decisions that were made previously, he had said that maybe for larger properties it would be appropriate. He thought this was too small, but he did present at the time that there actually were other properties that were recently granted variances for this exact same thing that were of the similar size of this property or even smaller.
So maybe if they, have that information, I'd feel differently.
Maybe.
Mayor, do you want to open up the public, see if there's anybody speak for or against, or?
It's not a public hearing.
Well, it's
We
actually
can.
a view hearing, so the applicant has the opportunity to.
If the applicant's here.
Than anybody else.
We are here.
Oh, okay. Come on up if you want to say anything.
We would just appreciate the approval.
Can you give your name and address, please?
Sure. Krista Malone, 530 South Lakeview Avenue. I would just appreciate if we could get the variance. There are several other homes that have the same exact fence that we installed.
Okay.
So, and if you have any questions, we're both here
So
today.
move, somebody ask. Anybody have any questions of it?
More for staff first. So was it because it was combined with 6 foot that you feel that P&Z voted it down?
I can only guess based on the reasons that they expressed at that meeting, which, one member was adamant that he didn't feel that 4-foot fences in general were a welcoming aesthetic thing for residential areas, is mostly what I heard.
What was the vote?
It was unanimous, I believe. No, there's one dissent, I'm sorry.
I personally don't have an issue with the 4-foot fence and think it's welcoming. However, overriding a board vote without doing our due diligence gives me pause. So I would say we maybe delay it one meeting and give us some time to think about it, or.
Is there anyone else that, is there?
Yeah, I would actually like to speak.
Go right ahead.
My name's Dan Malone. I'm Krista's husband. I live at the address. Again, I would like to point out that we're not asking for anything that doesn't already exist on Lakeview. Okay? And the other question I would like to ask the board or the planning committee that's here, who changed the rule in the first place? I'd like to know when it went from 4 to 3, who voted for it, when it was passed, and who thought it was a good idea to go from 4 to 3. Because as you drive through the city of Winter Garden, there's no 3-foot fences. There aren't any. They're all 4, which means it had to have been changed from 4 to 3. I'd like to know when it was changed and who thought 3-foot was better than 4. They don't even make a 3-foot fence. You have to take a 4-foot fence and cut it. So I'm confused as to how 3-foot even became the standard in Winter Garden when my entire street has nothing but 4-foot fences on it.
A couple of there, you're correct. Anybody else?
I do feel that, I'm sorry,
Right.
that a 4-foot fence is actually, like you said, I mean, I've seen them around and, I had the experience of asking for a 3 at one point and it was a 4, so I think a 4 is actually appropriate myself.
Okay. Any other comments?
Like I said, I feel it's appropriate too. It's just I had given laws whenever we override a board.
I don't think we ever have that I remember overrode a board and, in my opinion, it's a fence. And if there's precedent in the area, even on the street, it just doesn't seem right.
I mean, there was a strong reason, you know, I don't know when it was changed, I'm sure there was a good reason, but, you know, I don't know it right now. So anyway, okay, we need a motion.
Move to approve the recommendation, diverse decision of the planning and zoning board for the 4-foot fence height at 530 South Lakeview Avenue.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried 4-1.
Thank you. And it's not because I have no problem with the fence.
Recommendation to approve the final plat for 16123 Marsh Road.
Thank you. The applicant is requesting final plat approval for the 5.48 acre property located at 16123 Marsh Road, which is zoned PCD, planned commercial development, and has a commercial future land use designation. The proposal is to plat 3 commercial lots and provide all associated easements needed to develop the parcels with commercial uses. The preliminary plat was approved by the Planning and Zoning Board, and staff recommends approval of the final plat subject to all staff conditions. We have answered questions.
Okay. Questions from the commission? Okay, we need a motion.
Motion to approve the final plat at 6123.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Recommendation to authorize, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Recommendation to authorize the city manager to execute a grant agreement with Central Florida Hope Center. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. The City of Winter Garden and the Central Florida Hope Center have agreed to partner and enter into a 1-year agreement to help expand the delivery of economic opportunity for the undereducated individuals and families in Winter Garden. The Hope Center's Life Solutions project is designed to enhance the economic prosperity of residents in need, to include expanded services with a higher rate data manager and a dedicated case manager. In these capacities, services will consist of data tracking and reporting, customized action plans, essential life skills training, time management skills, workplace communication skills, personal hygiene and interview preparations. Residents will also get connected to additional community resources to further expand their workforce development, receiving housing assistance and access to food security programs. Success in the Life Solutions project will primarily be measured by job referral rates, job placement rates, and job retention rates. With that, staff recommends approval authorizing the city manager to execute the grant agreement between the City of Winter Garden and the Central Florida Hope Center in the amount not to exceed $100,000. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the commission?
And this is something that's gonna be for the citizens of Winter Garden. correct?
Exclusively citizens of Winter Garden residents.
Pastor, do you want to speak?
Jim Grosshans, I reside at 1686 Juniper Hammock Street in Winter Garden. I am here tonight representing the Hope Center of Winter Garden. This is the effort of the local churches coming together to meet the needs of Winter Gardens who are in dire straits, one fashion or another. We provide the largest food pantry in West Orange County, serving over 150 families per week with food need. We also have a job placement service. We have an immigration program approved by the Department of Justice, which will help legal aliens to find a green card or U.S. citizenship. We also provide life solutions, as you heard reported just a moment ago. We operate a thrift store, and our services are all located behind the Wawa at 1010 South Dillard. I want to thank the mayor and the city manager for their insight to see a response to the needy of Winter Garden and respond with this gracious grant. And I would just share with you one example that I heard from the team this week. There was a gentleman living in the fence line just behind the Wendy's for the past 14 months. He's been coming into the Hope Center. He's an addict and not doing very well, but the Hope Center has been talking with him and helping him and giving him food, working with him. Tuesday, he finally agreed to enter a rehab facility. Our director made immediate contact. He's got some amazing skills in connecting with other organizations. We got him a bed, and Tuesday, he finally, after 14 months of encouragement, he's off the street, he's in rehab, and his life is beginning to turn. This is what the Hope Center is all about, bringing hope solutions to people. And I thank you for the opportunity to receive this grant, continue those services, and the churches of Winter Garden want to continue our partnership with the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's stay up there. I want to, Pastor Tim, what is the number one thing that people can donate, even if it's your old worn shoes, you'll take them because you get them?
That's correct. The thrift store is the largest part of our funding. And so any gently used item, now we are no longer a junk store. The clothing there is top shelf oftentimes, and it still has the price tag on it. And so we have a way of selling to recyclers by the pound materials that are really not usable. And so we don't waste anything. So anything you have to donate helps fund this program. So it's not a total burden on fundraising all the time. So we do take, of late, we've had a hard time keeping up with the food demand. We all know what's happening to groceries. And so the churches are starting to take turns doing food collection. And so that has come in. So those donations, obviously, we'll take cash, but your gently used items, come volunteer. We have hundreds of volunteers who work with us. Those are the kinds of things that will help us come together as a community. And we have a very small staff. They're underpaid, and all I get out of it was this shirt.
Good looking though.
Yeah.
It is a nice looking shirt.
I got to take a tour of it. Pastor Tim gave me a tour of it when I was dropping off a washer, dryer, and some items that we had, because I called him up. My wife was like, where do we go get rid of this stuff at? I just happened to call him and go, you haven't heard about the Hope Center? No, it's a great thing. It's just,
They've done a wonderful job, really, reforming that place. They've done a great job.
Yeah.
And it's a great service to our community.
Well, it was wonderful to watch the mayor climb up in the rafters and pass down items that were unusable, and he spent the day passing things out of the warehouse. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your volunteer service.
Very little, but you were the ones ramrodded, and we appreciate it in our community.
It was forced volunteerism, is what you're saying?
No, but he has done a miraculous job, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Francis, anything else you'd like to add?
The pilot said it would get back that up maybe perfectly.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission? We need a motion.
So moved to provide the grant to the Central Florida Hope Center in the amount not to exceed $100,000.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Recommendation to approve special event, National Night Out. Yes, ma'am.
The Winter Garden Police Department is requesting approval to hold their annual community building event that promotes police community partnerships and awareness called National Night Out. The event will be Tuesday, October 1st, and run from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. The main event will take place at the Pavilion at 104 South Lakeview Avenue, but the WGPD requested the event be expanded this year to include the segment of Tremaine Street from South Highland to South Lakeview, and the segment of South Lakeview Ave from Tremaine Street to West Plant Street. These road segments would be barricaded for the duration of the event. So staff recommends approval of the National Night Out event and the proposed road closures. If you have any questions.
Any questions from the commission? Need a motion?
Motion to approve the special event for National Night Out on Tuesday, October 1st, 2024, from 6 to 9 p.m.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously. West Orange High School Homecoming Parade. Yes, ma'am.
West Orange High School is requesting to hold their annual homecoming parade through downtown Thursday, October 17th from 6 to 7 p.m. They will stage everything at the parking lot at the southwest corner of East Plant Street and South Diller Street like the previous years. Streets will be closed at 2 p.m. and then the parade will start at 6 p.m. following the same route as the previous years. West on Plant Street, turn around at South Central Avenue and go back to the parking lot. Staff recommends approval of the West Orange High School homecoming parade subject to staff conditions.
I'll make sure you have Mr. Turner's golf cart in there before he starts calling.
We allow one golf.
I thought I'd read that, I made sure it was in here. Okay, any questions?
This project was started when COVID, right? That was the one, something that we were doing for the high school because of the graduation wasn't allowed to be done. Is that when it started?
I think I'm not sure when it started.
The homecoming parade, no, we've been having that for quite a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. It's off and on, but we've had it for quite a while.
So the one that we had for the, COVID for the graduates?
The senior parade, that's been going on for a while too.
Since COVID.
Since COVID.
Yeah, that's been going on for a while.
I wasn't very happy when they were working on it.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to see that. It's going to be the same one. Yeah. It's pretty nice.
I'll say the homecoming parade, we had that in the 50s. Remember that? Okay, we need a motion.
I was not around. Move to approve the homecoming parade, yes.
We have a motion approved, we have a second.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Annual Oktoberfest. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Cricket Can is requesting to hold their annual Oktoberfest event at the Plank Street Market, October 18th, 19th, and 20th. The event will run from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Friday, 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturday, and 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday. They are proposing to have several tents with food and beverages, stage with live music on South Central Avenue, which will be closed for the event, and the consumption of alcohol would be allowed on the closed street and behind the brewery. And so staff recommends approval of the Cricket Can Oktoberfest, subject to staff conditions.
Questions from the commission? I assume you're gonna monitor the decibels of the music.
I was gonna say, it's still here.
Okay. Before we get the calls.
Regular.
Questions? Need a motion?
Motion to approve the special event, the annual Oktoberfest by the Cricket Can.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, ma'am. Matters from the citizens of Winter Garden. Matters from our city attorney.
House Mayor, thank you.
Matters from our city manager.
Yeah, just one item, Mayor and Commissioners. Back in April 16th, our Mayor Reese received notification from the Florida Elections Commission regarding a complaint that was filed by former Commissioner Ron Mueller regarding his comments that he made at the March 14th commission meeting alleging violation of Florida election laws. The mayor proceeded to hire legal counsel in defense of this complaint and and that matter has been disposed of in favor of the mayor. And as a result of such, and I would like to request your authorization to reimburse the mayor for his legal fees, which are well within my signature authority on the matter. So,
Move to reimburse.
pardon me?
Move to reimburse.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by
Wait,
saying
that's what the parts you
I'll
get.
recuse myself.
Right.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
He's actually gonna vote no.
Yeah. It took me 3 months to come around to this, but anyway. Motion is second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried 4-0. Me recusing myself.
Nothing further.
That's it, sir. Okay. Commissioner Sherman? Okay. Yep, Commissioner.
Just continue to thank to staff for all the hard work that you guys continue to do day to day.
Commissioner Jones?
Thank you for the city staff and all the responders. After seeing 9/11, it makes us appreciate more the work you guys do, and you guys are very highly appreciated. Thank you.
Commissioner Hill?
Second that, very highly appreciated. Also, thank you to staff for the extra work that you guys always do, but like with the budget and the marketing agreement, it's a lot. We appreciate it.
I'll second that with the budget. You're doing an excellent job with that and public accounting. Anyway, with that, we will adjourn.